I knew something was wrong the moment I opened the door. The smell of antiseptic mixed with a faint trace of her perfume hit me first, a cruel reminder that I was standing in our bedroom, yet she felt miles away. Emily slumped against the dresser, her wedding gown still clinging to her in a way that made my stomach twist. She looked exhausted, more than just tired, like someone who had been fighting to stay upright after a storm she refused to name. "Hey," I said softly, closing the door behind me. My voice trembled despite my effort to stay calm. "You okay?" She looked up, her eyes glassy, and forced a small smile. "Yeah, just tired." Tired. The word floated between us like a lie dressed in plain clothes. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the glass of water on the nightstand. It wasn't until she murmured, "I think I need to sit," that I realized I couldn't ignore the unease gnawing at my chest. I guided her to the bed and watched her collapse onto it. Her shoulders slumped, and for a brief moment, I thought maybe this was just wedding stress. But something about the stiffness in her movements, the hesitation before she spoke again, screamed that there was more. "I called the nurse," she finally said, her voice barely audible. She can explain." "Explain what?" My heart picked up, thumping so loudly I was sure she could hear it. Emily closed her eyes, biting her lip. "Please, just let her." A few minutes later, Nurse Karen, a woman I had met only a handful of times but trusted implicitly, stepped into the room. Her expression was careful, almost guarded. She didn't look at Emily or me at first, instead checking the foreline and adjusting the bed's angle. "I think it's better if I speak first," Karen said finally, turning toward me. Her voice was soft but firm. Emily was exhausted, yes, but not from dancing or the long drive back. Something happened at the wedding. Something that left her emotionally and physically drained in a way you might not want to hear directly from her. I froze, my chest tightening. What do you mean?" Karen hesitated, then took a deep breath. She was assaulted. By someone at the wedding. Someone she trusted. I blinked, disbelieving. "Assaulted? Emily?" Karen nodded. "I know it's shocking. She didn't want to tell you right away because she was scared, embarrassed. She's been carrying it alone for hours, trying to make it seem like she just needed rest." I felt the floor beneath me tilt, a dizzying wave of fear and anger washing over me at the same time. Who did this?" Karen looked down, her hands twisting. She said it was Michael. "Your college friend." I couldn't breathe. Michael. My friend. The man who had been by our side through graduations, late-night drives, even our engagement party. The betrayal stung so sharply I thought I might collapse on the carpet. Emily stirred, her eyes meeting mine for the first time. There was a flicker of shame in them, or maybe fear, I couldn't tell. I didn't mean for this to happen," she whispered. "I know," I said, my voice cracking. "I know." But even as I spoke, I could feel my trust splintering, tiny shards embedding themselves in my chest. Karen continued, her voice steady but gentle. She tried to leave, tried to avoid him. But he cornered her near the garden after the ceremony. That's why she seemed so drained when she returned home. The emotional weight of it. And the physical struggle. It exhausted her completely. I sank onto the edge of the bed, gripping the sheets so tightly my knuckles went white. I wanted to scream, to hit something, to cry. I wanted Emily to tell me herself, to reassure me that it wasn't her fault, that she hadn't, somehow, invited this betrayal into our lives. Emily reached for my hand, trembling. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to ruin our day. I wanted to protect you. Protect us. Her voice faltered. I couldn't. I swallowed hard. You should have told me, I said softly. I needed to know. We need to face this together. Tears welled in her eyes, and she shook her head. I know. I didn't want you to hate me for being weak. Hate you? I whispered, my fingers tightening around hers. Emily, I could never hate you. Not for this. Not for anything. I do feel hurt. Hurt that you carried this alone. Hurt that someone I trusted did this to you. She nodded, letting a single tear fall. I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. Karen, who had been quietly observing, spoke again. The important thing now is her recovery, physically and emotionally, and making sure this doesn't happen again. She needs support, understanding, love. I swallowed the lump in my throat. She has that, I said firmly. I'll be here. The room was quiet for a long moment, only the soft beep of the heart monitor filling the space. I looked at Emily, really looked at her. The woman I had married, the woman I loved, was still the same person, but everything between us felt different now. Fractured. Fragile. Can you tell me everything? Finally asked. Emily hesitated, then nodded. After the ceremony, everyone went to the reception hall. I stayed back a little to help with the flowers, and Michael. He found me there. He said inappropriate things at first, and then I tried to walk away, but he forced himself on me. I fought, I screamed, but I didn't want anyone to hear. I didn't want anyone to ruin the wedding, your day. I closed my eyes, imagining her alone, scared, struggling against someone she once trusted. My chest ached, my hands shook. Rage burned through me, but above it all, a deep, overwhelming sorrow. Emily, I whispered, you are not weak. You are strong. Stronger than I could ever imagine. She let out a shaky laugh, one that was half relief, half despair. I didn't want to ruin everything. I didn't want you to see me like that. You don't understand, I said, gripping her hands harder. None of this is your fault. None of it. I could never see you as anything less than brave for surviving it. Karen cleared her throat softly. I need to check her vitals and change the 4. I'll give you two some privacy. As she left, the room felt impossibly heavy. The quiet stretched, filled with the echoes of what had happened and what was left unsaid. I held Emily close, feeling her tremble against me, and for the first time, I realized that love wasn't just about joy. It was about weathering storms together, about holding someone through the darkest nights when everything else fails. I'm scared, she admitted, burying her face in my chest. I know, I said. I am too. But we'll get through this. Together. We stayed like that for hours, neither of us speaking, just holding on. Every so often, Emily would whisper fragments of what had happened, and I would hold her tighter, assuring her that she was safe now. I felt my anger toward Michael simmer, but beneath it, a strange sense of clarity. Nothing could change the bond we shared, not even betrayal from a friend, not even the cruel twists of fate. Days turned into weeks. Emily went to therapy and we attended sessions together. We didn't talk much about the wedding, not in detail, but every small step toward healing felt monumental. Some nights, I woke up to find her crying silently, and I would just hold her let go, and whisper that it wasn't her fault. There were moments, too, when I caught myself staring at her, overwhelmed by a mixture of love and sorrow. I had lost my innocence as a husband, the naive belief that marriage would shield us from pain. But in its place grew a new understanding. That love was not just joy, it was resilience, forgiveness, and unwavering support even when the world turned cruel. Months later, Emily smiled again, truly smiled, the kind that reaches the eyes and lingers. She would never forget what happened, and neither would I. But our marriage, our love, it had changed. It had deepened, becoming something more profound than before. Something that could endure even betrayal, fear, and heartbreak. And as I watched her laugh quietly one evening, brushing a strand of hair from her face, I realized something important. The hardest storms can reveal the strongest roots. And ours, despite everything, were unbreakable.